Well, good afternoon, everybody. Ron Wheeler here. Let's officially get started. So, today, our webinar is called How to Generate 3% per Month with One Option Trade Per Week. And I'm really excited that you're here because this webinar is going to teach you my bread and butter trade that helps generate income. And I do this multiple times a week, and I do this live with all of my clients. So, this is something that I do live in front of people every week. So, these are real trades, real results, real everything. And today I'm going to show you how you can turn just 15 minutes a day into consistent income, no matter what the market does. So stay with me because what you'll learn today could completely transform your financial future, just like it has for me and hundreds of my students. Now, I do want to ask you a quick question before we start because I kind of want to get a feel for where you are. Now, important note, this session is live, by the way. Today is July 23rd. It's just after 5 p.m. Eastern time, so I want you to interact with me in the chat. So in the chat box, I want you to give me a number, 1, 2, 3, or 4. Now, how would you describe your current income system in the stock market? So type a 1 if it's non-existent. So in other words, you don't have a way to generate consistent income. Type a 2 if it's just trickling in, nowhere near enough. Type 3 if it's there, but it's inconsistent and you need a little bit more. And then type 4 if it's a steady flow. You got multiple income streams possibly. You could turn on or off when you need, and that provide plenty of extra money. So 1, 2, 3, or 4. 1 being the worst, 4 being the best. Just kind of curious to where we all are on the income side. All right, let's take a look here, and it would help if I can see my screen. There we go. Ramesh, 3, Jim, 3. A lot of 3s. Tim, Raymond, 1 there. I asked Gary, 4. Sean, 3. 3 plus Michael, Ed, 4. Calvin, 2. Elaine, 3. All right. And test R3. Okay. So I see a lot of 3s, couple of 1s and 2s. So here's the great part of this. If you're a 1, 2, or 3, you're in the right spot today. There's no doubt about that. Even if you're a 4, I'm betting you're going to learn how to increase your existing income flow and do it with less risk and less time spent. That's my goal for today. So in this webinar, you're going to begin to see how you can make a paycheck averaging 3% per month or more. Keeping in mind, this can be done regardless of market direction. You can do it with little to no prior experience with options. It's safer than simply buying and selling stocks, and this is something you can implement really quickly. Over the past 9 years, this system has averaged 3% per month, but more importantly, it's transformed the lives of retirees, parents, professionals, anybody looking to secure their financial future without a lot of risk. So type yes in the chat if you'd like to learn how you can trade for 15 minutes a day and make consistent income, even if you're wrong about market direction. All right, yes, 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 exactly. Now, if I were in your shoes, I would be skeptical and I'd want proof. So do me a favor, just type a P in the chat if you would like to see proof of this. All right, well, yeah, so would I. Because I see those annoying, overhyped advertisements, the guys standing next to fancy cars, flying in their private jets. I'm not like that. I like to let the results stand for themselves and let you decide. Now, I've taught this technique to clients for about 9 years now, and many of them were kind enough to share their story with you. Now, we can't possibly read them all today, but you scroll through here and there's a lot of folks here that are getting these results that we talk about. Now today we're going to focus on guys like Mike, who made 12,000 and felt like he had the keys to a cash register. Bruce, who went from 100,000 to 452,000 in 3.5 years. Okay, no longer has sleepless nights. John grew his IRA by 112%, spending no more than 15 minutes per day. Now, I want you to take a look at our performance so far this year. Now, keep in mind, first off, these are real trades that I made on month over month. Okay, I do these live with my students. Every Monday, every Wednesday, we place live income trades. So the S&P is up about 5.5% during the first 6 months of the year. Our paycheck system is up over 16%. So we're just a little shy at the end of June of our 3-month average, or our 3% per month average. But in July, we haven't closed out July yet, but we've gone ahead and made it into that 3% month goal. So we're happy to triple the market's performance here. Now, one of my recent students sent me this email. He said, "Hey, Ron, just want to send a quick email to thank you and your team for the SPX Paycheck course back in September. I've been using the method, tracking my performance, and thought you'd like to see the results. I entered my first 35 Delta trade on September 21st with only 5,000 in my margin account. Now, less than 3 months later, I'm already up 24.9%. Thanks again. I'll be teaching this method to my retired in-laws to help them grow their income in retirement. I love hearing that. And there's also a lesson here for you. You don't need to dedicate 100 grand to this. You could start very small while you learn and practice because it builds up quickly. For example, if you started out with 5 grand and you average 3% per month, compounded over 15 years, that puts you at $1 million. If you started with 25,000, you'd be near $1 million after 10 years. You're looking at serious money. Now, clearly, if you have more than $5,000 or $25,000, you'd get there much, much faster. Now, my name again is Ron Wheeler, and I'm the option income coach here at VectorVest. I've been trading now for almost 30 years. And when I started out at first, for the first couple of years, I had mostly losses. In fact, I blew out and zeroed out my first couple of trading accounts. And like a lot of investors and traders, the reason I was losing because I was trading in a way that required me to be right to make money. If I bought something, and I traded commodities at the time, if I bought something, it had to go up. If I went short or sold something, it had to go down. Bottom line is if I wasn't right, I would lose money. That's a hurdle you have to overcome, right? You have to learn direction, okay? But, probably about 7 or 8 years into my career, I had been trading successfully at that point for a couple of years by then. I was never an options guy. I started out in the commodities world, never really touched options, didn't really like them, didn't really interest me. But one of our clients, who actually happened to be a hedge fund trader, came to our office to visit, and he actually was an options trader. He used our software at the time to trade options, and he sat down with me and sat down with some of my colleagues. And he said, "Hey, I want to show you guys what we do at the hedge fund or institutional level with options and how you can do this too." Well, long story short, he showed me kind of the secrets to how the institution use options so that even if they're wrong with their analysis, they could still make money. He showed me how to use options in a way that controlled your risk. He showed me how to stack probability and control my risk. Okay? Think of the pressure this takes off of you. He showed me how my analysis could be wrong. And even when it was wrong, he could still put me in a position to be profitable. You don't even have to be right to make money. Okay? That was a huge big deal for me. And that really opened my eyes to the options world. Now, I traded commodities for a while after that, but probably about 15 years ago, I really kind of concentrated more on options. And now to this day, I'm nothing but options. All I trade is options, every day. Well, not every day, but most of the days. Now, here's how we laid out today's webinar. The first part of today's webinar is going to show you that strategic shift that's necessary to generate consistent income. After that, I'm going to show you the 3 big mistakes you need to avoid. In fact, by knowing what these mistakes are and that thousands of other investors will make them, you're going to be in prime position to profit. We're going to talk about things like strike prices and expiration dates and how to pick them all correctly. And then in that third section, I'll show you how to set up your income trades with very low risk. Type a yes in the chat if you've been told that selling options was risky. Give me a quick yes if you've heard that. Okay, yep. Listen, I'm going to show you how to do it the right way though, so that there's even lower risk than buying stock. And then I'm going to lay out our 6-step paycheck system we follow here at VectorVest to generate income. Now, this is different than what others will teach you out there, so I'll walk you through it today. Now, throughout the session, I'll mix in some case studies of our clients who are doing this. One of them might be just like you. Now, I do feel there's a ton of great information in today's webinar, so it would benefit you to stay to the end. And if you do stay with me to the end, I put together a checklist that's going to help you plan out your trades. It's a PDF. I'll put it right in the handout section to go to webinar. I'll drop it right in there. You can click on it, print it today. Just remind me when we get to the Q&A section at the end, because there's a lot of times after about an hour I forget. Now, I love to interact during the webinar because we get so much more out of it. So you guys have been great so far using the chat box. There's going to be several times throughout the webinar where I'm going to ask you questions. So let's interact back and forth. I've also got several members of the team here with me today. So like I said, this is a live webinar. If you have a question, type it in the chat. My team's going to help me out with that. They'll either ask me at the end or they'll answer it right for you. And keep in mind, there's only so much we can cover in an hour. So throughout the session, I'll be mentioning some things you can do after the webinar if you do want to continue your education and start implementing this quicker. Now, we'll talk more about it at the end, but I guarantee this will be 1 hour of packed information. So if you're good at that, and you're ready, just type a yes in the chat box for me. All right. Yes, yes, yes. Love it. Why is this such an important topic? Well, without an income system, financial stress is your constant companion. It creates a number of problems for us. You may feel stuck working longer than planned, or you're stressed worrying about running out of money. You might be depleting your savings faster than you can fill it. You might even fear you'll have to go back to work. With the options paycheck system that helps you generate income, you can break free of that. It's designed to help you generate income safely, consistently, and in less than 15 minutes a day. Now, I believe this is probably the most important point of the webinar, so pay close attention, write down what I'm about to say. In order to be financially free, our main need is income. To be financially free, you need to learn to generate enough income from your investments to cover your expenses and lifestyle needs. So let me say this again. In order to become financially free, you need to learn to generate enough income from your investments to cover your expenses and lifestyle needs. So whether you're still working or you're retired, the ability to generate income from your investments is one of the most empowering skill sets you can have. Because when you have the ability to generate income from your investments, your life will change. If you're still working, you can increase your earning capacity. It's like having a second job. If you're retired, you can have a consistent source of income as if you quit your job, but they keep paying you. It's like a tap you can turn on whenever you want. This is going to allow you to do the things you want to do now and when you retire. When you've got a system to help you generate income, it can help you retire younger. So as I said, I think this is one of the most important points of the presentation, so I'll say it again. When the income from your investments exceeds your living expenses, you become financially free. Now, the first thing you need to know to generate income with options, it's a bit of a strategic mindset shift. You're either going to continue being the gambler, where you lose more than you win, or you're going to become an option seller and win more than you lose. Being the option seller is the way to make consistent income. It allows you to win even when you're wrong. It essentially turns you into the casino in this analogy. Now, why do you want to be the casino or the house? Well, number one, the house always wins at the end. Number two, they always win because they control and they stack probability in their favor. The options paycheck system is built around you stacking that odd massively in your favor. So make a note of this. In order to control your returns and results, you need to know how to stack probability in your favor. And that first step is the shift from being the buyer of options to being the seller. So let me explain. Bruce is a great example of that shift from gambling on stocks to being the casino and controlling and stacking probability in his favor. He said prior to working with us, he had mainly taken stock tips from brokers. Now, he focused on our SPX income system. This is our most basic trading system. He said he's not the most technical person in the world. But in the time that he's been working with us, he's grown his trading account from 100 to 497,000 in 3.5 years. He's achieving a 74% win percentage simply by following the rules of the options paycheck system. And the whole system, he said, takes him around 15 minutes a day. So let me show you how this works. Here's an example of a typical trade you've been taught to make. You find a stock that you like, maybe you think it's going to go up, so you either buy shares of it or you buy a call. Now, why do you buy a call option? Well, a call option, to make a long story short, it's the equivalent when you buy a call to owning the stock essentially. If you buy a call and the stock goes up in price, your call increases in price, you make money. It's beautiful, right? Well, that's the most basic option trade you can play. Well, what ends up happening a lot of times when you do that? Either the stock doesn't go up, or worse, it doesn't go up enough, and the call you bought ends up expiring worthless. Has that ever happened to you? Yes? Well, what's the problem that's causing you to lose? Most people feel the problem is they picked the wrong stock. Maybe it was the wrong strike price or the wrong expiration date. But let's talk about the real problem. If you've been losing money or had more losers than winners with other systems, it's not your fault. That's because most of the systems on the planet teach you to be on the wrong side of the trade. You're taught to buy an option. But as a buyer, the probabilities are not on your side. And for most people, they end up buying and losing and buying and losing and buying and losing. Our options paycheck system teaches you a new way of thinking. You need to be a seller and not a buyer. This is how you get ahead of everyone else. This is how we can put probability on our side. This is how you win even if you're wrong. So let's take a closer look at selling options. Now, as a buyer, a typical trade gives you a 50-50 chance to be a winner. Because when you buy, the only way you make money is if the stock moves in your direction, right? So instead of having a buyer's mentality, we are going to have a seller's mentality. Instead of hoping a stock goes up, as a seller, you're going to strategically set up your trade using probability. Because probability will tell you where the stock is not likely to go. So instead of needing the stock just to go in your direction, you can pick a price which basically says, as long as it doesn't go down to here, I can make money. Now, think about that. You can pick a price. In this case, we think the stock is going to go up. So we pick a price below the stock, right? In this case, we had a 204 roughly dollar stock. We pick 195. If the stock goes up, we make money. But if the stock goes sideways, we still make money. And as long as the stock stays above 195, we still make money. Right from the very start, probability is in your favor. And in some cases, we can even expand that probability out more. You can simply choose a lower price, which gives you a bigger area where you can be right. So in this case, I've extended it down to 190. As long as this stays above 190 for the next really 2 to 3 weeks, you will make money. And we start a lot of our trades off with a 70% chance of success. And this is only something you can do as an option seller. As a seller, you're putting the probability of success in your favor. And this is why I call it an income trade. An income trade is simply one where you can make money even if you're wrong on direction. Now, you remember Bruce? He actually still trades with us every week. He's in my coaching group. He posted in our private group and said, another day of trading on the beach, got my eyes on AMC Nicole Beer. Life's good. Thank you, VectorVest and Ron, for giving us the tools to do what we do from anywhere. That's a great picture of being financially free. Now, Mike was someone who dabbled with options, but said he lost on each trade. You ever been there? Can you imagine how frustrating that's got to be to lose on each of your trades? Eventually, he gave up. He went back to the books, tried to learn more about options, but said he never felt comfortable he knew what he was doing. He had all this option knowledge, but no real set criteria of how to use it right. Mike and I worked together. I taught him the options paycheck system of being an option seller, and he said he became an income machine. After he learned the system, he immediately went out and said he had 17 out of 19 winning trades with a profit of over $12,000 in 4 months. The key lesson here is that shift from buyer to gambler, or buyer or gambler, to the seller or the house, that turned his situation around. He was even so proud of his results, he sent me his sheet at the time. Now, a couple things I want you to focus on. Number one, look at the profits compared to losses, right? A lot more profits than losses. Now, the other thing I want you to look at is the days to close, work days to close. I want you to, these are not day trades. This is not something you're going to be in the market for 30 minutes for every day. These are trades that take typically 7 to 10 days to complete. So it's something that you can do with a more hands-off approach. You don't have to be there every single day looking at the market for 4 hours. It doesn't work that way, right? These are not day trades. Every 7 to 10 days, he's pulling in about $1,000. Now, if you're like Mike and a lot of our students, you can begin trading the SPX, which is the index that tracks the S&P. That involves only one trade per week and has averaged about 2.3% per month over the last 8 years. You're not just learning how to trade options. You're creating a future where your income grows without adding hours to your day. Imagine turning that stress, that financial stress, into confidence, knowing your money's working harder than ever, even when you're not. You're not looking for one big home run trade to become a millionaire overnight. You're growing your account steadily each year. And that's really the key takeaway. Home runs look good, but singles are what win the games. These singles are what will enable you to never run out of money and to be able to do the things that you want to do. Now, one of my jobs as your coach today is to help you make a few great decisions. Your first shift to generating income with options is to move from being that hopeful gambler to where you implement a system of high probability selling. Now, listen, I'm not saying you need to be a full-time options trader. You're still going to do some stock trading, but you're going to mix in some trades where you sell options for income. So do me a favor, in the chat, type in gambler if you want to continue taking low probability trades. Or type in the word seller if you think it makes more sense to trade with high probability. Now listen, every once in a while, you might do a trade where you gamble with a little bit of your money. Listen, I still do it, right? I gambled on earnings tonight on Tesla. I don't even know what Tesla's earnings did. I'll have to take a look after we're done here. I gambled on Tesla. I gambled on ServiceNow. I threw a couple $100 at it, right? And if I win, I make a good amount of money. If I don't, I'm not out there with my cup in my hand begging, right? But I'm talking what we do for real income, right? And I see a lot of you, Seller, Vic, Alan, or Aiken, Robert, Ramesh, Michael, Sean. So, you know, my promise to you was that you can generate a consistent monthly paycheck no matter what the market does. Being an option seller is how you're going to do that. Now let's move on to section 2. You've seen by flipping from that buyer to being the seller, you can stack the odds in your favor. Now you need to know how to sell options correctly because there's a right way to do it and there's a wrong way to do it. So let's start talking about how to do it the right way. To stack the odds even further in your favor, you need to understand and capitalize on the 3 most common buyer's mistakes that people make. Basically, you're going to avoid making these mistakes and then just do the opposite. So let me explain. Mistake number 1 is that buyers choose unrealistic strikes. They choose option strikes that are so far away, the stock has no chance of hitting it. Here's a stock. Stock's $216 a share. Let's say you're bullish. A mistake a lot of option buyers make is they buy a call with a strike price way above the stock price, right? Now, why do they buy options if the stock has a little chance of hitting it? And again, let me explain here. What I mean by hitting it is the stock has to go from 216 to 230 for you to make any money. Why would you do that? Well, they do it because they're cheap. It's a very inexpensive option. They're treating it kind of like a lottery ticket. Most of the time they lose, right? Now, since there's going to be those buyers out there who are buying these options that are way, way, way outside the price of the stock, you may as well be the one who sells it to them. You're selling an option, you're selling a strike price that has a very low probability of getting hit. Since it has a low probability of getting hit or winning, that means as the seller, you have the high probability of winning. They're low, you have a high probability of winning. Now, the same is true for puts. There's people who buy puts way down below the price of the stock because they think it's going to go down, but it's going to have to move $15, $16 a share for them to make money. Or maybe they're buying that put because they're protecting their stock purchase. That's fine. Listen, it doesn't matter why they're doing it. Since there's always going to be buyers out there who buy these options, they need a seller. They need the casino. We will be the casino. When we sell these options, we are giving ourselves a 60 to 90% probability of success. That's right from the very start of the trade. Now, the second thing that buyers do when they make mistakes is they buy options that are too close to expiration. It's like when you go grocery shopping and maybe you see a piece of steak on the discount rack. It's there because the expiration date is coming. If you don't cook it right away, it expires, right? You got to throw it away. Well, the same is true for options. This is what happens to the price of an option in relation to the days to expiration. I want you to notice that over 180 days, it took about 135 days for that to lose half of the value. And in the last 45 days, it really dropped off. Now, a lot of buyers will buy their options with less than 45 days until expiration. Why do they buy these options if there's so little time left? Because the options are cheaper. You see it right here. The options have lost more than 50% of their value, even more. It's like a lottery ticket. By doing this, you're stacking probability against you. So instead of buying options in that area, we are going to sell options in that area because that fast option price decay puts money in my pocket. I make money on the decay. Okay? Now, to be more specific, we're going to sell options in a 21 to 45 day expiration rate. That's really the sweet spot. So we're going to be selling options 21 to 45 days away. Kind of put this on a graph for you to understand. This is a graph of Home Depot. Most buyers buy options with expiration dates maybe out here, about 5 weeks away, right? But that expiration date is still too close. Look at how the value of the option drops off just because it's getting closer to expiration. This is one of those options where you can say, uh-oh, the stock went up, but my trade still lost money, right? This is bad for the option buyer, but you're going to be the option seller. This time decay is going to work in your favor. Again, remember this, okay? Remember this. There will always be people buying options that have expiration dates too close. You might as well be the one who sells them that option. Let them be the gambler. You be the casino. You will always win in the end. Now, the third mistake that buyers make is they simply pay too much. They buy what's called an overpriced option. So let me show you what I'm talking about here. Now, this is one that's not known very well. You got two stocks. I want you to look at the top here. Notice that both stocks are basically the same price. They're like 76.30 or so, right? They're about 12 cents apart. But even though those stocks have the same price, look at the premium difference here in the option. The option on the left has a premium of $9.10. So if you buy a call, it's going to cost you $910. Over on the right, if you buy a call, it's going to cost you $180. That option on the left is like 4 times more expensive, 4.5 times more expensive. Same strike, same stock, same everything, right? Why? It's because the option on the left has extremely high implied volatility. Okay? Well, what's the big deal? The volatility's high. The option's expensive. Who cares, right? I always like to use strawberries as my example, right? My kids love strawberries. I shop for them. Sometimes strawberries are $2, sometimes they're $6. Now, my kids don't care because whether they're 2 or 6, they're still going to eat them and taste the same. It makes no difference in that. You're just mad because you have to pay more, right? Well, in the option world, it's not that you just get mad because you have to pay more for the option. This can have a serious downside to the trade. So let's do this. Let's pretend the stocks both go up about $8 per share from 76 to 84, right? If you bought 100 shares in the stock, you're golden. You just made 800 bucks. What happened though to the value of the options in this scenario? The option on the left, you actually would have lost money. Went up $8 a share. You got direction right, but you lost money on the trade. Now over on the right, you actually made about a 400% return on that. All going back to volatility. The option on the left had extremely high volatility. The buyer paid too much. That was not a good option to buy. Remember what we said? We're going to identify the mistake and we're going to do the opposite. We are going to search out these overpriced, expensive options and we are going to sell them. Because when we sell these expensive, overpriced options, it limits our risk. That's a big thing. And it increases our profits. This is going to help us stack probability even more. Now, Bob has one of the most interesting stories I've seen. He said prior to working with us, he was making a bunch of the mistakes we talk about here and it cost him dearly. In fact, he ended up either broke or bankrupt 3 times. In his own words, came close to living under a bridge. The options paycheck system helped Bob turn his situation around in as little as 4 months. He learned to turn these mistake liabilities into strategies to control and stack probability in his favor. In 4 months, Bob grew his account by 71% and achieved a 79% winning trade percentage. Remember, if you want to control your returns and results, you need to know how to control and stack probability in your favor. So let me ask you, have you made any of these buyer's mistakes? Type a yes or no in the chat. Yes, everyone's made these mistakes. I made them too as a new option trader. It's not your fault. You were just taught a broken system. Now again, one of my jobs as a coach today is to help you make a few great decisions. If you're trading options to generate income, you can no longer make these common buyer's mistakes. Even if you leave the webinar and don't become an option seller, promise yourself you'll stop making these common buyer mistakes. Whether you continue on with any of the courses or coaching we offer here at VectorVest, make that promise to yourself. So in the chat, type avoid if you will avoid these buyer's mistakes. All right, I see lots of avoids. Ian, Ramesh, Michael, Edward, Robert, IS. All right, cool. Listen, there are thousands of people out there who will continue to make these buyer's mistakes. You can't prevent them from doing it. Since they'll be doing it, you may as well know how to capitalize on it. If you want to generate consistent income with options, you simply need to take the other side of the trades. Now that you know you want to be an option seller and you're going to avoid and capitalize on those common buyer's mistakes, let's look at how to trade with very little risk. Because when a lot of people hear the word options, and especially the term selling options, they think it's risky. That's because some people just go out there and they sell options because they heard it was a high probability trade, but they don't protect themselves. The options paycheck strategy uses a low risk strategy for selling options. And this is why it's a core strategy we teach to our retirees. Now, why is reducing risk so important? Because most people who don't use the options paycheck system, they're not preserving their capital. They have one bad trade wipe out the gains from a bunch of winners. And when you suffer those large losses, it's hard and it takes a long time to recover. But when you do it right with the right system in place, you'll have a built-in protection plan. You're going to take care of risk management before you even open the trade. And when you can confidently select stocks, set up your trades in ways that reduce risk, this is what allows you to preserve and grow your capital. Like I said earlier, home runs look good, but singles are what win the games. Now, one of the most common questions I get asked is, can I trade options from an IRA? Well, a client of ours, John, he grew his IRA over 112% in 1 year using our options paycheck system. He had tried and struggled with trading for some time before working with us. He learned to follow the system and turned his inconsistent results into predictable monthly income. He said in 12 months, he enjoyed 85% winning trades and more than doubled the size of his IRA while spending no more than 15 minutes per day on his trading. Now, the options paycheck system makes sure you reduce your risk before you even open the trade. First, we choose stocks that are very low risk. We have a very specific criteria, but in general, if we're bullish, we start by focusing on good stocks that are already rising in price. Very similar to the graph you see here. Then, instead of selling options, what's called naked, we're going to sell them with protection. So let me show you how to do this. A traditional option selling system leaves you with all of this risk down here. The options paycheck system is going to shrink your risk to just this. Doesn't matter how far down the stock goes, if you're wrong, that's your risk. So let's look at how this works. This is a graph of a typical stock we'd be bullish on. Beautiful graph, so it's understandable to be bullish on a stock that looks like this. Traditionally, you're going to go out and buy the stock here, right? That's the current price. Maybe you're even going to buy a call using the current stock price as a basis for your strike. But remember, we're not buyers anymore. Now we're sellers. Here's what you're going to do. If you think a stock is going to go up, what you're going to do is you're going to go below the stock price and you are going to sell a put. Okay? If you think a stock's going to go up, you go underneath the stock price and you sell a put. When you do that, you receive a premium. You're getting paid. In this example, when you sell the put, you get paid $200 per contract. If you traded 10 contracts, you get paid $2,000, right? That's good. However, you don't have any downside protection here. At some point, you are going to have to exit this trade. All right? And if the stock goes down too far, what looked like a very good risk might be a huge loss. Okay? You have no downside protection. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a built-in protection plan. You're going to sell a put, and then in the same transaction, you're going to go a little lower, and you are going to buy a put as insurance. Buying that put has reduced your risk to that small amount. Now, that protection plan costs you something, right? To buy that protection, you're going to use some, but not all the money you receive from selling the put. In this example, your insurance cost you $100. That's okay. You receive $200 from selling the put. You're going to spend $100 of that to lock in your risk. That's going to leave you with $100 credit. You're going to get paid $100. That is the most you can make on this trade now. You can make $100. If you did 10 contracts, you can make up to $1,000. Okay? Again, you're getting paid to place these high probability trades. Now, this is what this has done. If the stock goes up, you're going to win. For those of you that done options before, what happens here is the options decay in value and they start losing all of their prices. You make money. Here's the cool part. The same thing happens if the stock goes sideways. And as long as the stock stays above 135, you can still make money. And if the stock drops below 135, you will exit the trade and take a small proportional loss. Okay? Now, here's what I want to do. I want to set up a trade using an example of a trade I did with my clients. It's something I did this year, part of those results you saw earlier. And I want you to understand how to set them up. Now, I'm going to be showing you some numbers now, so you want to be paying attention. But let me put a couple rules in place here. Number one, okay? When the market is bullish, we place bullish income trades. Now, here's another tip. I gave you a tip earlier. Remember I said we sell options 21 to 45 days away? The next tip is this. We're going to pick an option strike that gives me at least a 60% probability of winning. So here's the trade. It's DRI, Darden Restaurants. I took this trade back in May, right? Let's zoom in closer. I think, based on my analysis, DRI was going to go up in price. Okay? So I'm going to go to my broker. I'm going to pick an option expiration between 21 and 45 days. In this case, I picked the June monthly expiration. It was about a month away, about 4 or 5 weeks. When I look at the options, I'm going to look at the puts, and specifically, I'm going to look at the puts below the stock price. Now, here's the cool part. Pretty much every broker has this probability information in it. So when I go to the broker, I can see that the $200 put, that's this one right here, letter A, that's at 200 bucks. If I sell a $200 put, the stock is at 203.85. If I sell a $200 put, the stock has a 55% chance of staying above 200 till expiration. If I pick B down at 195, I have a 64% chance of the stock staying above 195 till expiration. So if I sell the 200 put, I have a 55% statistical chance of winning. If I sell the 195, I have a 64% statistical chance of winning. Now, if I go all the way down to 185, I have an 80% probability of winning that trade. Now, of those three choices, I want you to type an answer in the box. Which one do you like the best? Which one do you like? Not knowing anything else, don't worry about that. I'm not asking you to make like a life or death decision here. Just knowing what you know now, which one do you like the best? All right, I see Tim B, Ramesh C, Alan B, 64 William, some B's, I see a couple C's, a couple B's. So everybody is saying B and C. Well, I agree with you. Those are probably the better options. Now, let's talk about how this trade actually works. The right answer is B. Now, why is the right answer B? Because like a lot of things in life, probability is really, really good. But too much of a good thing is bad, right? Water is very good. But if you drink too much water, you could die, right? Too much probability is a bad thing. Now, when I do these trades, I'm just going to kind of give you a little idea how I do these trades. I set my trades up to make about $750 if I'm right. So if I sell B, I can make $750. If I sell C, I'm going to set the trade up with enough contracts to where I can make $750. All right? Now, if I sell C, I may have a $750 potential profit, but what if I told you that if I lose, I'm going to lose $3,000 for every losing trade? That doesn't sound so good. I'm basically going to wipe out the majority of my profits with one losing trade. Okay. I might make $5,500 on my winners if I did it 10 times, but I'm going to lose 6,000 on my losers. That's not good. At B, I'm going to arrange the trade to make 750 if I'm right, and then I'm only going to lose about 750 if I'm wrong. This right here starts to become what we call the sweet spot. So we've talked about some sweet spots today, right? Sweet spot being 21 to 45 days to expiration, probability in the 60% range. This is why that one is correct. Now, like I said, I try to set my trades up to make about 750 if I win, 750 if I lose. Why? Because that's part of the risk parameters I'll teach you as we continue, right? Now, this trade is called a bull put spread. In one transaction, I'm going to sell a 195 put, and then I'm going to buy a 190 put as protection. It's called the bull put spread. Bull because you do it when you're bullish, puts because they're puts, spread because you have a $5 spread between your two options. Okay? That's that built-in protection plan. Now, your true risk of this trade was only about 98 bucks per contract. Now, what I want to have happen over the next couple of weeks, I just want the stock to stay above 195. That's all I care about. Well, over the next 2 weeks, the stock did. It went up in price, kind of came down, and it went up in price. Okay? Overall, it stayed above 195, and I was able to exit that trade in only 2 weeks, and I made $712. Okay? That's after commission, by the way. So I try to make 750 real, or 750, that doesn't include my commission. So 712 after commission. All right? You generated a $712 paycheck in those 2 weeks. Now, another client I worked with is Jim. Prior to working with me, he told me his results were inconsistent and he felt very unsatisfied. He kept thinking there had to be something else out there that was better. Have you ever felt that way, like there's something more out there? Jim said he wanted a way to supplement what he was doing and provide more of a regular income with a higher probability of success. He said that after learning the system of being an option seller, he had 21 winners in a row and returned 76% in about 8 months. And his average trade only lasted 8 days. Can you imagine how that must feel to go from being, inconsistent to where all your trades are generating income? Now, your third shift is to make sure when you sell your options, you set up your trades with low risk. The options paycheck system makes sure you have a guaranteed maximum risk. And it all goes back to whether you'd be the gambler or the casino. Keep in mind, the house always wins in the end. Okay? Being the option seller is the path to consistent income every month. It allows you to do it more safe and with a higher probability of success than just simply going out there and buying and selling stocks. So, today's been all about building a system to generate consistent income with options, regardless of what the market is doing. So let's put this together. And I want you to look at the 6-step paycheck system we use to generate consistent income. This is something you can do in as little as 15 minutes a day. Now, my students who have implemented this system have told me this is the most important thing they learned. Why? Well, one of the biggest things they ask me is, how much time is it going to take me? And it's a great question. Here's the challenge. There's thousands of stocks out there. You got to find how to pick the right stock with the right strategy. When do you get in? What expiration? What price? What if it goes against you? When do you get out? And with all that, sometimes it feels like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. There's so much information out there, you don't know where to look. You spend hours researching your trades, going from guru to guru looking for advice. Without a system, you're trading blindly. You're like a mouse running through a maze, bumping into wall after wall. You don't know where to go. It's stressful. It's disheartening. But with the right system, you can identify good trades and get reliable income in as little as 15 minutes a day. Now, if you think you're too busy, remember this. Time is your most valuable resource. This system requires just 15 minutes a day, and it's designed to give you back control of your time and money. Imagine what you could do with that freedom. Now, to get that system, you need a system, and not just any system. You need a straight line system, a really simple way to know when to place your trades, how to find your trades, how to set them up, and how to manage them. So let me walk you through the steps of the options paycheck system. Now, step number 1 is market direction. A lot of traders just ignore this. They go out and start placing trades. You're going to be placing trades that are either bullish or bearish. So you have to have a way to know the market's direction. Today we focused on bullish trades, and we've been focusing in real life on bullish trades since May. Okay, I've played nothing but bullish trades since May because the market's been up. But you can do this when the market's going up or down. It doesn't matter. You're going to narrow your focus. So instead of looking at everything, you're only looking at one of two possible scenarios. We have a timing system built in that we use. That'll help us establish market direction. Now, after you know the direction of the market, you want to like stocks that are highly likely to move in the same direction. Just trading the stocks you know or listening to the gurus on TV, it's not the best choice for this. So what you want to do is find good stocks that are already in uptrends when the market's rising, bad stocks that are in downtrends when the market's falling. Now, our options paycheck system uses two things. We use fundamentals and we use price trend. We have pre-built searches in VectorVest that we use. That's going to save you a ton of time. That way you're not digging through all the data the institutions throw at you. Now, once you have your list of stocks, we want to find a way to select the best ones for option trading. Earlier, we looked at how big of an effect volatility had on an options price. So we're going to focus on selling options with volatility in the upper end of the range, but we don't stop there. To take even more risk out of the trade, we filter out those with upcoming earnings and make sure that the expiration date is in the sweet spot. Now, you can use tools from your broker. We happen to have a proprietary search tool, which will find these in just a matter of a couple of seconds. Now you got to set up your trade. We pick the trades that have the highest probability of success by just doing like we did on Darden, right? We look at the strikes, looking at the biggest possible credit, far enough away that the stock has room to move around in case we're wrong. And we also want to make sure that we have the acceptable risk-reward ratio. We don't want to do a trade where we risk 1,000 to make $100. Doesn't work that way. Now, before you place the trade, you need to know what to do if the trade goes for you or against you. You don't want to be sitting in a trade feeling frozen like a deer in the headlights because you don't know what to do. Our options paycheck system has rules to take profits at predefined levels. We can set these up in advance with our broker. And if a trade goes against us, we have a simple adjustment strategy that brings in more income to minimize the losses. We also know exactly when to exit a trade. We set that up in advance with our broker. That way, when trade exits happen, it's very automatic and very unemotional. And lastly, it's time for the execution. You want to confidently place your trade with your broker. So our paycheck system does this by planning the trades in advance and then showing how to use limit orders for the execution. Now, earlier we talked about Mike and Jim. Each of them is getting the results in about 15 minutes a day. So is Hugh. He told me one of his biggest struggles was finding a system that was efficient and worked. He said he sought the proper balance between trading and free time. He didn't have a proper work-life balance. Are you like that too? Do you spend too much time doing things you don't want to do and not enough time doing the things you want to? Now that Hugh learned the options paycheck system of selling options, he said he has more confidence, more free time, and is able to have more fun. He said in his first 43 trades, he had 38 winners and returned over $26,000 in 4 months. So let's do this. I want you to take your pen. I want you to put a little star next to the part of the system where you're good. So for example, if you have a quick way to find a list of stocks likely to go in the direction of the market, put a star there. That means you're pretty good at market direction and stock selection. But if there's an area where something isn't working or maybe you need a little work, put a little frowny face there. So for example, if you don't know how to trade an option or you don't know how to set up an option trade, put a little frowny face next to 3 and 4. Okay? I don't want you to overthink it. We're going to give you about 15 seconds to give yourself stars or frowns. I'm willing to bet maybe 1 in 100 investors will ever know how to do this. So let me ask you, in the chat, do me a favor, type with me. What areas do you need to work on? All right, I see Jim, 3 and 5. I see Mike, options down. All of them. Well, all of them. A couple of you need all of them. That's okay. 4, too many sad faces. Ramesh, 4. Tim, beginner with options trading, 3 to 6. Richard, listen. Ultimately, it doesn't matter where you are because the end goal here is to get you to have stars all the way down. Once you do it, you'll be able to generate income and do it in less than 15 minutes a day. So listen, I don't know the exact reason you came to today's webinar, but I'm going to make a few guesses. Maybe you've been trading blindly. You don't really know what to do. You feel like you're bumping into one wall into the next, and it's leaving you with inconsistent results. You make some money, but then you give it all back on your next trade. Just like Jim did before he learned the options paycheck system. Maybe you've been suffering through loss after loss, and those small losses are killing your portfolio. Maybe the money coming in isn't exceeding the money going out. Maybe you're just not where you want to be. Now, today I showed you the secrets to fixing that, and it's a secret I bet again only 1 in 100 investors will ever know. Now you're one of them. You saw it's possible to win even if you're wrong. How you can do it with very little risk, and less risk than simply buying or selling stocks. You saw the system that's going to help you get consistent income every month. And I showed you just a few of the many, many people who use the system every day so they never have to worry about retirement again. You saw over and over the secret to generating consistent income is that shift from being the gambler to being the casino. Remember, you're going to be that one investor out of 100 who knows the secret. That means there's 99 other investors out there who will continue to do things wrong. They'll be buying options, making all those mistakes we talked about. Can't stop them from doing it. There's always going to be those investors out there who buy options incorrectly. Let them be the gamblers. As long as those gamblers are there, you might as well be the casino. Because remember that old saying, the house always wins in the end. The options paycheck system teaches you how to stack the probability of success in your favor. Just like Brian and Bruce and Bob and Jim and Hugh and John. By now you've seen how the system works. You've heard how others just like you've achieved that financial freedom. Question is no longer can it work? It's are you ready to make it work for you? So let me walk you through the process to getting started today. And it starts with a choice. Option number 1, do nothing. Stay exactly where you are. If you already have enough money to retire and you're not worried about running out of money, then maybe you don't need this option paycheck system. But if you would like to make some extra income every month, that leaves you with 2 other choices. Option 2 is to do it alone. You could try to learn how option trades work, figure out the direction of the market, learn to analyze the thousands of stocks to find the best ones to trade, hope you pick the right one, manage it correctly. If you're willing to work hard, spend hours in front of your computer, and you're willing to learn by trial and error, you might be able to pull it off. The third choice is to let us guide you through it. I'll walk you through each piece of the options paycheck system. In just a few weeks, you're going to have that simple system to follow that doesn't take a lot of time. Of those 3 options, ask yourself what's going to be easier for you. You know, there's 2 types of people. Person number 1 is someone who dreams about their financial goals, but they never take action or do anything to make it happen. Person number 2 is someone who is serious about their financial future. You're ready to take action when you see an opportunity in front of you. You know, the real risk isn't trying something new, it's doing nothing and staying stuck. The market won't wait, your expenses won't stop. Every month you delay could be another month of missed opportunity to grow your wealth. So let me tell you what we put together for you. The Options Paycheck Experience is the most comprehensive program for generating consistent income using option spreads. This is the only implementation program of its kind that teaches you the secret to generating consistent income with options. Why? Because we show you exactly how to find, set up, manage, and place option spreads to generate income, and how to do it safely and consistently in any type of market condition, where you never have the fear of running out of money. Now, we only open registration a few times a year, so if you're serious about building consistent income, this is your chance to join a proven system that works. After going through the experience, you're going to know exactly how calls and puts work, along with all the fancy terms, so you no longer have a fear of options. You're going to know and have clear signals telling you whether to trade bullish or bearish, and more importantly, when to not trade. You're going to be able to quickly identify stocks that are the best candidates. We're going to be using a rules-based approach, and that's going to free up a lot of time in your life. You're going to set up an income trade that gives you a 60+% success rate. You're going to have a trade management game plan in place prior to placing your trade. That way, you know how to handle any situation the market throws at you. You're going to be able to confidently enter and exit trades with your broker like a pro, whether it's your first trade or your 500th. You're going to implement a system that allows you to safely and consistently generate income so you can begin to live that lifestyle you want without the fear of running out of money. Now, the course is 8 modules, and we made them so each module builds on the one prior. The first 2 modules lay the foundation, and the other 6 teach you the 6-step system, step by step. So by the time you're done, you're going to have that system for consistent income. Now, the first 2 modules, what we call the option income foundation. A lot of people try to build that successful income portfolio, but they base the portfolio on a very weak foundation of knowledge. We understand what it's like to learn options. We've been there too. That's why it pays to learn from a team who's gone through this before. The outcome you're going to get from module 1, you're going to know exactly how calls and puts work so you can confidently use them in your trades. You're going to know which terms to pay attention to, which to ignore. That way you don't waste time or get frustrated. In module 2, you're going to learn what the 2 spreads we use are and how they work. You're going to be filled with confidence to start using these trades to build that income system. Now that you got your foundation of options knowledge, we're going to lay out the step-by-step system to placing income trades to generate your options paycheck. Each step along the way from here is going to stack probability in your favor and reduce risk. And it all starts with knowing when to trade. Here, you'll get complete clarity on market trends. So instead of looking at all possible trades, you're going to narrow your focus. You'll know whether to place a bullish trade or a bearish trade, and even when not to trade. After you know the direction of the market, you're going to want to find stocks that are highly likely to move in the same direction of the market. That's going to stack probability even more in your favor. And the outcome here is you're going to be able to quickly find the best stock and indexes to trade that give you the highest probability. Now that you've got your list of stocks, it's time to narrow it down to the best option candidates that give you that highest probability for profits. The rules in this module are going to make sure you're getting paid top dollar for your trade and making it so you can make money even if the stock goes nowhere. You're going to continue to stack probability and reduce risk in module 6 by the way you set up your trade. In this step, you're going to make sure the trade has the perfect combination of risk reward. That way you know exactly where to place those strike prices that we talked about. Great trades, they don't happen by accident. They happen because of careful planning and strategically setting up correctly from the beginning. Now that you got your high probability trade picked out and you're ready to go, module 7, you're going to learn how to have your plan in place. That way you know when to exit the trade to take profits, but also to minimize losses. You're never going to be frozen like a deer in the headlights again. No matter what the market throws at you, you'll know how to react, and that's going to allow you to trade stress-free. Now that you found the best stock, you set up your low-risk, high-probability options trade, you mapped out your game management plan, it's time to place your trade. This module will break down the trade execution phase into simple, repeatable steps that you're going to commit to muscle memory in no time. Not only do you get the entire course, but if you act today, you're going to receive our exclusive trade planning checklist. We put everything you need into a checklist so you never miss a step. When someone's first starting out, it's always comforting having that security blanket to make sure you did everything correctly. Plus, placing trades with your broker can be intimidating. So in addition to video walkthroughs of several popular brokers, we put together click-by-click directions for the most popular options broker, Thinkorswim from Schwab. Now, before we talk about the low price of the course, I want to kind of put all your fears aside here. I want to make this extremely low risk for you. We offer a 100% money back guarantee on our course. You can go through the entire course. If you're not satisfied we taught you how to profit using options, just notify us within a week of finishing the course and you can get your money back. It's no risk. All we ask is that you give it your best effort. Come to the classes or watch the recordings of the classes. I don't care. Do the assignments, because we know if you do, you'll see the results. If you don't do the work, so you don't come to the classes or watch the recordings, you won't be eligible for a refund. The reason I put the policy like this is because I want to attract people who are actually ready to jump in and do the work. If you're not ready to do the work, don't sign up. Okay? I want you to jump in, do the work, watch the course, do the recordings, whatever. Be serious. Because if you're serious, I know you're going to get results. And remember, this is a system that has averaged 3% per month. That's 36% per year. And it doesn't take a lot of time to do this every week. I received this email from a client who took the course. Ron, I'm writing to thank you for teaching the Options Paycheck course. I took your class this fall and wanted you to know my results for the past 10 months. I keep a journal to document every trade, and so far I've profited on 239 trades out of the 350 that I've taken, a 68% winning rate. I've profited over $100,000 in this time. What's more exciting is that since my knowledge and experience have grown in regards to taking really good risk-reward trades, I've profited over 50,000 in the last 6 weeks. My success rate has been 78% over my last 100 trades, and I only take trades with a 2-to-1 or better risk reward. I want to thank you again for teaching this simple but very effective system. That's awesome. If I told Joe I'd give him 100,000 in exchange for his 2,000, would he take that trade? Would you? Well, I got a great offer for you that you're going to see here in a minute. But before I tell you more about it, I want to point something out. Understand that this is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not something where you should expect to become a millionaire in the next 24 hours. This is serious, requires some effort on your part. So if you're not going to commit to it, then don't do it. It's not for you. It's for serious people who take their investing seriously and who are willing to put time in to learn the system. So if you're serious about this, you're ready to do the work and get the results, then the Options Paycheck experience is perfect for you. Step-by-step training to go from option basics to a full, complete income generating system. Just these training modules alone are worth the price of the course. However, we've got some amazing bonuses for you as well by ordering today. Bonus number 1 is what we call the Mastery Package. The Mastery Package includes module by module mastery sessions. Each week, you'll have 2 live mastery sessions dedicated to each module. You watch the modules pre-recorded, then we get together live to discuss them in our mastery session. Then on Friday, we have an additional live Q&A. That means there's 3 live sessions a week, giving you plenty of opportunities to ask questions and get help. It also includes private dedicated email support with me and my team. Additionally, if you don't have it, we're going to give you access to VectorVest and Options Pro software for the 2 months of the live curriculum. Okay? That way, if you don't have it, you can test out some of the greatest tools for this on the planet. With this Mastery Package bonus, you're going to have the tools and support you need to master the techniques taught in the course. That way, you're ready to place your first income trade in the shortest time possible. The second bonus, we call this the implementation month. For a month, you are going to be able to access my live trading sessions. So through September, or in September, and I'll show you guys the schedule shortly here, you're going to see me do this live with you. You're going to watch me find, select, set up, and place trades in real time. I trade my own account. I show you. I place everything in front of you. I'll show you how I manage my trades each week. This is a huge bonus. You're going to see the Paycheck system in action, and if you want to follow along in your own account, you can. I also hold live office hours twice a week. We're going to walk through the system step by step in these office hours. So 3 times a week, you're going to see me look for trades, place trades, do this with real money. Okay? Our past students have said this is one of their favorite parts of the course. Watching that repetition really helps cement the concepts and process for them. Now, if you're worried a lot of that's going to be too much, finding stocks and all that kind of stuff, we also have the SPX Paycheck System bonus. This is where I take the entire course, boil it down to something you can do in 15 minutes a week. It's 1 trade a week on 1 ticker symbol with 1 setup rule, 1 profit rule, 1 stop criteria. It's easy. It's simple. My teammate Brian, he actually taught this to his 14-year-old daughter at the time, and she was able to do it. And for a lot of my students, this is the only system they use. So as a recap, with today's offer, you're going to get the complete Options Paycheck training program, 8 training modules, videos, checklists, cheat sheets, quizzes, slides, more. You're going to get that bonus mastery package, the implementation month, and the SPX Paycheck system. The total value all in one is $54.75. However, here's the opportunity in front of you. I'm going to roll up my sleeves with a couple hundred people who are serious about generating income. If you choose to be one of them, together we're going to create an income system in your portfolio. Now, the early bird price of the course is $12.95. However, if you order before the end of today's webinar, remember we are live, it's just about 6 o'clock Eastern time, okay? You can get it for $9.95. That means you get the full course, 1 year of access to the course, the mastery package, the implementation month, all for $9.95. But that $9.95 is only for those who register before we finish up today. Once we finish, we take the price back to $12.95. So go to optionspaycheck.com. That's where you can sign up. Now, if you think it's expensive, ask yourself what it's going to cost you not to do this. How much money are you going to lose by learning by trial and error? How much potential profit are you missing out on? How much time and energy are you going to spend trying to do this on your own? Then ask yourself, how would things be different if you did it and it worked? This isn't a cost, it's an investment in your future. You know, there's a saying that the best time to plant an oak tree is 20 years ago, so you can be sitting under it now enjoying the shade. Do you know when the next best time is? It's today. It's not too late to begin to prepare yourself for retirement and learn to generate income. This is going to be one of those deciding days in your life. Is it going to be the day you look back to where you squandered an amazing opportunity to create that income stream? I hope you don't regret the decision you make. Don't miss this opportunity. I look forward to working with you in our class. Many of my students tell me they wish they'd started this sooner. Don't look back a year from now and think, what if? This is your chance to change your financial trajectory. Don't let it pass you by. So again, go to www.optionspaycheck.com, get yourself registered. That $9.95 price is only available while we're live on the webinar. So if you've never taken the Options Paycheck course before, you want the lowest price, now's the time. Optionspaycheck.com. After the webinar, back to $12.95. Okay, don't wait. I don't want your financial future to wait here. Do this now. Once you register, you're going to receive a welcome email with everything you need to do. Okay? Now, before I do the Q&A, I want to cover a couple of the basic questions I always get asked. First is, Ron, you keep saying watch the recordings, live session. What's the deal with that? So, you can do the class via all recordings if you want to. The live curriculum is August and September. So on August 5th, you're going to get access to Options Pro. You're going to get access to VectorVest. You can start the official class in August with us. If you sign up for it tonight, you're going to get access to really everything but the software right now. So you can actually start watching the modules tonight if you really want to. But we formally start the class on August 5th. August 5th, we have a live welcome session at 4:30. August 6th, we do our first mastery session, and on Thursday, we do our second. Those are at 4:30. So what we ask you to do, by August 6th, watch Module 1. By August 7th, watch Module 2. And then if you want to, come to the live mastery sessions. If you can't come to the live mastery sessions, within 24 hours of the mastery sessions, we give the recordings to you via our university site. So you'll be able to watch the recordings that we did of those dates. Friday at noon, we do a Q&A. That's Eastern time. What's the Q&A? It's just there's no preset agenda. You just come in there with us. We talk about anything you want to talk about from modules 1 and 2 that you might not understand. Then you can kind of see through August. The entire month of August, Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're going to do 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8. Then on Fridays, we're going to have those Q&A sessions. And again, if you want to view them live, great. If you can't view them live, not a big deal. You can watch the recordings of these as we do them. So let's say you're on vacation August 12th and you can't view the mastery session. You can come back August 13th and watch the recording, or the 14th and watch the recording. Everything is recorded. So if you miss it, it's not a big deal. So in September, then what we do is we start actually implementing. Our first implementation session is Tuesday, September 2nd, the day after the Monday because markets are closed. I'll do a class that's combining my SPX paycheck system and my stock credit spread classes. I'll be placing live trades in those classes. Come to them, do them with me, learn, whatever you want to do. Then Wednesday at 4:30 after the market closes, we're going to repeat the process. The cool thing about Wednesday is I'll show you how to place trades at night for the next day. So you don't even have to be there during the live trading day. Friday at noon, we're going to do the same thing. Essentially, 3 times a week, we're going to meet together to look for trades, to repeat the process over and over and over again. So for the next 2 months, August and September, we are going to turn you into an income option trader. Greg just recently graduated, and he said, prior to the course, I struggled with knowing how to protect myself when the market was moving away from me, and I feared if I didn't fix it, I'd lose more of my portfolio than I could afford to lose. After taking the options paycheck, I feel better prepared to trade and much more confident. In the first month, I made a net of $10,200 from my options income trading with 9 winners and only 1 loser. I would absolutely recommend the course. It was well done, very educational and informative. It's an excellent educational opportunity that I'm thankful I took advantage of. Don't let fear hold you back. You'll make more in the first month than you paid to take the course. I was one of the fence sitters who didn't take the course for a long time when I saw it offered. I lost a lot by not taking this program sooner. I'm very grateful and appreciate the work that was put into making this training program available. Now, before we get into the final details, we want to be totally upfront with you. I've helped thousands of people use options to generate income monthly, but this course isn't for everyone. That's why we've been able to get such great results with our students. We're selective, and we ask you to be too. We don't want to sell to everyone, okay? We want to help the right people succeed, and that's how we get these great results. Well, what are the right people? Here's what we found over the years. The people who succeed in this program have share a few things in common. Number one, they've got some basic options experience. If you've bought or sold a call or put before, you're good. Okay. But if you've never touched options, we recommend starting with something from our basic options jumpstarter course. Those who succeed also have at least $10,000 available for trading, not just 10,000 total, 10,000 that you could actually dedicate to the strategy. So if that's your entire account, it might not be the best place to start. Your brokerage account has level 3 options trading. That means you can place bull put and bear call spreads. If this isn't set up with your broker, you're going to want to fix that first. And then finally, you're coachable. You don't try to outsmart the system. You follow the plan that we lay out because that's where the results come from. So if you're checking those boxes, great. You're in the right place. And this is going to be one of the most valuable investments you'll make in your financial future. And if not, that's okay too. It just means that this isn't your time yet. And listen, we'd rather help 100 people succeed than settle with 1,000 who aren't ready to have them struggle. It's just not worth it for anybody. That's why we have such a high success rate, because we work with the right people at the right time. Here's just a few of the great comments we've received from our prior students. Cheryl, I've surpassed my expectations. I don't need the money back guarantee. I tripled my investment. You already know about Bruce. Frank, after taking the course, I've a profit of 7,300. Before the course, it was a crapshoot. Now I believe in the option trades I'm doing. Cam says he made back the initial investment so many times over. Even though it's a small part of his portfolio, it's probably the most profitable. Jake says, I finally found a method of making consistent winning trades with a high probability of success. And just a few more from our more recent graduates. Neville said, thanks for a wonderful course where within a short time you've opened our eyes to many things. Your experience, enthusiasm, and desire to teach comes through easily. You put a lot of thought into the training manual, already paid for the tuition with a few Delta 35 SPX trades. David says, the options Paycheck experience is by far the best course I've ever attended on my years of VectorVest since 99. You've eliminated my fear of trading options. The manner in which you presented the material is truly outstanding. Waleed said, the course helps people like me develop self-confidence. If you have fears about options trading, you definitely need this course. Since the start of the course, I've done a few SPX trades with 19 wins, 12 losses, and a $5,700 gain. So here's the dream. It's the dream of everybody. Consistent income and financial freedom. What's the risk? It's virtually none, thanks to the options paycheck system. What about the time? Just 15 minutes a day. The effort? We provide everything step by step. This is your moment. You've seen the results. You know the potential. Now it's time to take action. Don't let fear hold you back. Commit to your future. Let the options paycheck system show you what's possible. Go to optionspaycheck.com to secure your spot. Okay? Remember that $9.95 price is only available while we're live on the webinar. After the webinar, the price will increase to $12.95, and then the final registration closes August 5th at 10 a.m. Okay? So I'm going to do this. I'm going to bring my colleague Steve in, and we're going to go ahead and officially start our Q&A.
Wowie zowie, Ron. That was a man. Yeah, that was full. That was a full session there. Awesome. I feel really good about it. There really weren't all that many like resounding questions in the chat, but maybe just a few things we can talk about. One, I might have missed it because we were answering some. Did we talk at all about the SPX bonus trade?
We talked a little bit about it as a bonus module, but we do that with the SPX Paycheck add-on, and it's a trade that you can learn in 15 minutes. Really, it is that simple. You place it once a week, and I have a lot of clients that start with that. It's averaged about 2.3% a month over the past decade. It's a really good trade that you can learn.
It's like one of the best bonuses that we have ever offered at VectorVest. So I wanted to just make sure that we were on target there. Also, like with we got all this whole tariff situation, well, maybe kind of resolving, maybe not, and all this uncertainty might have some future volatility in the stock market coming down the pipe. We got this debt, well, not ceiling. We got this debt issue here in the States and all this. What happens if what happens to a system like this if a lot of market volatility comes into the equation?
Well, it can cause some short-term goofiness, but the beauty about this is well, number one, we do our trades with probability. So even in those areas where the market gets really out of whack, you have enough room on your stock trades to where it's really not going to hurt you. The SPX trade, you might have a loss or two in a row while some of the volatility comes into play. But the beauty of it is the losses equal the gains. So even in a period of very nasty volatility where, oh my gosh, I lost an SPX trade, your loser is going to be the price of one winner. So once that volatility subsides after a couple of days, you can go right back into trading. The loss that you had is easily overtaken by one gain. Stocks are a different factor altogether. Stocks have enough room to where they've absorbed a lot of the tariff madness that we've had this year.
Yes, indeed. All right. So refresher rate. So for people that may have taken the Paycheck course before, guys, just so you're aware, we do offer.
I seem to have lost Steve. I don't know if Steve, if you're still in here or you got disconnected.
Oh, wow. That was weird.
Oh, okay. There you are. I'm like, uh-oh, what did I do?
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back now.
That's weird. I don't think I even clicked it. My mic turned off. Oh, I don't know. Maybe it was an act of God. But anyway, what happens if folks like have a busy lifestyle and maybe they're going to miss a live session or two or a recording or two from time to time? You know, is there going to be a way they can catch up? Is it really going to affect them in any big way?
Yeah, I think you can catch up really easy. You know, in the grand scheme of this, you're going to dedicate probably about 3 to 4 hours a week during the first month to learning this. So, you know, even if you're gone for a week, right? Maybe you missed the second week. You can easily come back the next week, spend a couple extra hours and catch up. You know, we've got all the modules pre-recorded, so you can watch those anytime you want. The live mastery sessions, those will be recorded too, so you can come back and watch those as well. You can always follow through with email if you want to, ask questions if you missed the mastery. We've got a lot of people. I've done this with thousands of people over the past decade. And,
Yeah.
a nice percentage, a nice chunk of them don't even view the live sessions. They just watch the recordings.
Yeah. And Ron's like an email ninja. He's really speedy and he's always back to you really quick, which is super cool. But I really don't have anything else, Ron, at this point. So I'm just going to throw it back to you to close it up any way you see fit.
Cool. Awesome. Well, remember, if you're interested in signing up, simply go to optionspaycheck.com. I'll just kind of show you the website real quick while we're there. And all you got to do, click on the register today right here. You got 27 more minutes to get that special. Just click on register today. You get that $9.95 special. And also, if you're just kind of interested, if you go to this page and you scroll through it, you're going to see a lot of testimonials. These ones you've already seen, right? But underneath that, there's a little click that says view all testimonials. Take a look at that. Scroll through some of these folks. You may find that they're very much like you and in the same spot. I've been trading now for almost 30 years. In my 30 years, I've been a day trader of commodities and futures. And, as part of that 30 years, I've spent a lot of the 30 years, probably 25 of them in education. I had the great opportunity to start my trading career working for an analytics software company. And, I got to learn how to trade from some of the best traders in the country. And it really helped me out. I'm going to say this with complete honesty. Trading in a way where you have to be right to make money is difficult. Risk management, where you have to be right and you are, making sure that you risk $1 to make $2. It's very difficult. It's one of the reasons why I struggled for the first 2 years of my trading career. I've taught people trading that way. I've taught people trading the options way that I've been doing it now for the last 15 years. I have had a ton more success with people trading options. It really is, in my opinion, the path to success. I don't want to spend 8 hours in front of my computer anymore. I stopped doing that a long time ago. Now I trade with my clients twice a week. I spend about 2 hours a week teaching them, finding trades, doing this. I place about 10 to 15 trades a month on average. We're hitting that 3% goal consistently. Let me show you how to do it. Sign up today. Just go to optionspaycheck.com, get yourself registered. And we'll start in August and we'll get you up to speed. And by September, you'll be placing those first few options income trades. So with that, I want to thank all of you for attending with me tonight. I know it's been about an hour and 20, 25 minutes, so thank you for spending that time with me. I do certainly appreciate it. I know time is valuable, but I hope you learned a lot of information from me tonight. So with that, I will see all you guys hopefully in August. Make sure you sign up. You got about 20 more minutes for the bonus, $9.95. And I wish all of you the best of success in the future. Thanks again, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Take care, everyone.